What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. My name is Jordan Parhar, and as always during the Big Brother 18 season, I'm here with you to discuss what's going down on the live feeds in the Big Brother house, even when there's not really a lot going on. And with me for the final time for the Big Brother season, for the Big Brother 18 season, that is, there's another season coming up very shortly, is the live feed correspondents. First is a man who is still trapped in a hotel room with very weird curtains. It's Taran Armstrong, ladies and gentlemen. Taran, how are you?
I'm great, Jordan. You know, this is the final episode of the RHAPpy Hour for Big Brother 18. I'm very excited to drop some knowledge on everyone and to argue with Brent about things.
Things.
Yeah. Yes, things indeed. And that voice you heard is none other than somebody who I saw a lot. We did a Survivor draft last night, and I think I saw his hashtag the most. So he's the early front runner. He's the early front runner to win our Survivor draft. It is the great Brent Wolgamott, ladies and gentlemen, or the Wolgamonster, as some people like to call him. Brent, how are you? Did you finally get your sleep?
I did get my sleep. I need to get up in this live feed business with y'all or one last time.
One?
That's RuPaul's Drag Race. It's Alyssa Edwards. She goes, I need to get up in this live feed business, girl. Like, that's how she talks. You know?
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I should really check out RuPaul's Drag Race.
I need to get up a little bit for you to get it. See.
All right. And last but not least, old reliable. He's here as always. I love this guy to death. It's Alex Kidwell, ladies and gentlemen. Alex, how are you?
Old reliable.
I know, right?
When did that become me? That's like definitely not. Like if I was you're doing my character type.
Is Alex the James of this podcast?
That would be
last. I think Alex is the James of this podcast. He's always here. He's happy. He doesn't, he comes here. He does his job. He's doing hard work. He asks me if he can help out if something goes wrong. Like, we had some technical issues before the show, and he's great. So no, man, it's all love. It's a term of endearment, my friend.
Oh, what the hell?
Exactly. Or like Keith Nail, I love Keith Nail. I love you. It's great.
So am I Southern now?
DC.
Yes, relative to you, I am.
You are Southern to me. Yes. True. So there you go. Have you recovered from your Washington professional football team losing to my Dallas Cowboys yet?
Well, that's the thing you need to understand about being a Washington sports fan, Jordan, is that you don't need to recover because you're always down. So what's the point of never getting up?
Oh, yes. Good point. All right. Let's set things up for you guys here. It's the final edition of the RHAPpy Hour. This is the show. If it's your first time joining the RHAPpy Hour, well, you missed out this season, but it's not too late. Thank you for coming aboard. We are live on RHAPpysWebsite.com on a YouTube live show. If you are watching us live currently, make sure if you've got the chat room going on RHAPpysWebsite.com. I was just going to say, make sure that your video says YouTube, or it says A at the end of it, because that's the right video. We had to make a new one before this started, but I just realized that you aren't actually seeing this video if you did not click on the right one. So yeah, we'll see how it works. If you are in the chat, maybe tell people in the chat room to refresh their page, because we are live now. That would be greatly appreciated. So
this is like last time when you said, oh yeah, we're only going to be an hour right at the beginning of the show, when it's totally pointless to say that, and we're only going to fail to live up to those expectations.
Yeah, exactly, Taran. We tried though. We got 90 minutes. That was pretty good for a draft show. Normally we're like 3 hours on those, so I'd say that's a win. Alex, were you able to pick up your parents from the airport in time?
Yeah, no worries. Everything's cool.
Okay, good.
Good. Nothing burned down.
Nothing burned down. So
world keeps on spinning.
Sounds like he's hiding something to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to go with him and take Alex, old reliable's word for it, that his parents got home okay. So thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Kidwell for not being too upset with your delivery or your pickup driver being a little bit delayed last time because of our Survivor draft. Just a little bit of housekeeping here. Just to let you guys know, we did have a bit of some issues with the iTunes version of last night's show. We're just working out the kinks with the new edition of RHAPpysWebsite.com, which is beautiful. beautiful, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go over to the website. It's brand spanking new. It looks really good. Just a little bit of issues with the audio, so that should be up for you guys now if you were trying to download that earlier. So just a little bit of a heads up there. Okay, so again, I tried setting things up. We're talking about the live feed, so if you do not want to know who has won part 2 of the final HOH, if you do not want to know any spoilers, now is your time to say goodbye. But at this point, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Come on,
Might
yeah,
as well.
stick with
It's going to be a fun show. Let's stick around. Wednesday's the finale, so the LFC has tons of insight, lots of great stuff to say. So stick around. It's going to be a fun show. We got a couple segments that I think will be really exciting. So I am really stoked to do this show. So let's jump right into it, guys. Let's talk about the live feeds. I'm surprised. I guess I was a little surprised. I didn't realize that the feeds would still be on this late, but Taran, it looks like they are.
Yeah, they are. Good question.
So what's been happening for like the last, like for the weekend? Like what's because for you, like watching this, it feels like, I don't know. I feel like I would be bored to death. Like that new Blink-182 song. Like there must not be much going on. There's only 3 people in there.
Or that fun show with those people, Zach Galifianakis and that other dude, Bored to Death on HBO. Great show.
Yes, the other dude. Yes, of course.
People who are smart know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but anyway, Taran, what went down this weekend on the feeds? There was part 1 was earlier. I guess that was last week, but part 2 went down. What were the results of that?
Part 2 happened, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, Nicole beat James quite drastically.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so Nicole will be facing off against Paul. As it currently stands, Paul definitely is going to take Nicole to the final 2 if he wins. Nicole still might take James, but also might take Paul at this point. It's becoming less and less clear as time goes on. She seems to be becoming more and more indecisive about it. But as it stands, I think she still will probably take James, just because that's how she felt when Corey was still in the house, and she feels like she's not going to go away from that. She still feels like that's probably the best decision.
Brent, what has James' reaction been to this so far? Does he think he's going to the final 2 either way, or is he kind of moping around like he's going home in third?
Both. I think initially he thought that both of them were going to take him to the final 2. I think as time has gone on, he slowly is realizing that Paul is probably not going to take him to the final 2. And Nicole may not either, based on his conversation with her last night. Last night, they were having quite a few conversations, both with and without booze. They gave them booze, which they often don't do in US Big Brother, but they gave them booze. And before the booze came, Nicole had it in her mind that, James was too hard to beat, that she was probably going to take Nicole. Paul was successfully had made her think that, and I don't know this not to be true, that James has the votes against her. And I think that Nicole's one fear is she doesn't want to go to the final 2 and lose to James. I think she's okay losing to Paul. But if she's going to lose, she wants it to be to somebody who she thinks is worthy, not somebody like James. She doesn't want to lose to a bitter jury. She's been going on about the fact that she wished she had the Big Brother 16 jury, because this jury is all bitter with her and it's a bunch of girls, and of course Nicole doesn't get along with girls, so she thinks none of them will vote for her. So she's kind of between a rock and a hard place right now. And James, on the other hand, his conversations with her suck. Like, he's so bad at this. Like Nicole says to him things like, well, if I'm against you, you have Natalie, you have Michelle. And he's like, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. I probably do have those votes, and yeah, Victor might vote for me. And he's not good at all at, deflecting. Whereas I think Paul does a much better job of that. Nicole's a smart girl, but on the other hand, when James is telling her to her face that, I would maybe beat you in the final 2, that's really scary for her.
We got a question in from @SoldToGypsies on Twitter, and you can get your questions in for the show live if you are on Twitter. You can send them to me. I'm @JordanParhar. Use hashtag RHAPpy Hour. Alex, I'm going to throw this to you. Sold2Gypsy says, how can Paul think it's easier to beat Nicole than James? James is more like Victoria than Derek. could be a $500,000 mistake. I'm thinking the same thing. Like I'm trying to get the logic here. I mean, I get like there's the worry about the bitter jury and stuff like that, but I don't know. I feel if I was in there, I don't think I would be looking at it. I'm looking at it like that because I've seen everything that's going on. So what's your take on this, Alex?
Well, I think the problem is right. Exactly. That Paul doesn't know what we know, and that, looking at it from his point of view. And then again, Paul hasn't seen a lot of past seasons, so he doesn't necessarily know like what a jury's going to vote based on. But Paul is seeing James as someone who hasn't really alienated people, who has a loyal base of voters and people ready to argue his case, in probably Natalie, maybe Devon, Bridget, Michelle. Like that's a good, like, if those people are on board potentially, then he only needs to find one more vote from somewhere. And I think that's scary. I think Paul is just worried about the fact that James potentially has more votes that are sure things than Nicole. Although Nicole, I think, is probably the bigger threat, and we can see that, but I don't think he can.
This is the thing that I don't understand. I think this is what if you're on Big Brother, this is what you should ask yourself. Like, you need, like, if you're in the final three and you're lucky enough to be there, you should look at the two people who are next to you and go like, if I was on the jury, objectively, which of these two people would I vote for? And whichever one of those people is that person, evict that person. I think Paul would clearly want to vote for Nicole, because he thinks that she played the game, whereas he thinks James totally doesn't deserve it at all. And I'm wondering if that's an aspect of this. Paul's been saying to Nicole, like, James doesn't even deserve $50,000. He's done nothing. And I'm like, that's all the more reason to take him. I don't get that part, but I don't know if he's just snowing Nicole there. It sounds like he's being legit with her, but on the other hand, he's a really good liar. So I'm having trouble figuring that out.
A key piece of misinformation that I believe Paul has is that he has counted Corey and Nicole as votes for James if he goes to the end with James, which are two votes that would not go to James. They would actually go to Paul. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why he feels like he's not able to take James, because obviously if James does have both Nicole and Corey, then he's basically got the game won. So it's really, I mean, Nicole could easily, ruin this entire thing by letting Paul know, oh yeah, Corey would totally vote for you over James.
Oh man, Wednesday's gonna be fun, guys. I'm excited.
Gonna say, neither one of them, to my mind, has threatened the other one. Like, if you screw me over, I'm not gonna vote for you. Like, I wish Paul would do that to Nicole. Has he? Because I think he's come close. Like, saying, like, I'm gonna take you to the end, right? Like, I wouldn't do you wrong, right? That would really kill me if you did that. Things like that. But I don't know that he's told her he wouldn't vote for her.
He has to some, like, I mean, but it's Paul. So it's like, it wasn't like a serious kind of like, okay, listen, in like serious business, if you screw me over, I am definitely not voting. That's don't care. He needs to say. No matter what, I'm not. And he definitely needs to, because she will be potentially relying on him and Victor as swing votes as well. It's an interesting situation, because either one of them, if they don't take the other, will need the pair that they didn't take, either Nicole and Corey or Paul and Victor, to vote for them in the end in order to win against James.
Right. I think it's a little, like, he may not think he needs this. He may think I think he thinks that Nicole is already going to take him, and he shouldn't feel that comfortable, okay? Because he's feeling comfortable. He's feeling very good about his decision to take Nicole, but that just means that Nicole has a better shot against him, which, if he's being honest with himself, Nicole also knows that Paul has a better shot against her, so she should probably take James. Like, he's not following the logic all the way through to its conclusion, and I feel like it would behoove him at this point to do that. And also, like Taran said, if he went to her and said, look, honey, I love you. I can't speak in, like, I have to do it like me. I can't do it like Paul, because I know Paul would never say honey. But Paul, like Nicole, honey, like, just so you know, I love you to death, and I'm rooting for you. Like, I want you and us to get there. But if you screw me over here, I will not vote for you. I will give it to James. Victor will give it to James. I will make sure of that. And with Natalie and Michelle's vote, you have to run the table against James in order to win. So just so you know, if you want James to win $500,000, that's what you're getting if you evict me. And he needs, like, I don't want you to do that. Like, I'm with you, but if you screw me over, just know what you're getting. And he hasn't done that. And last season, I feel like if Vanessa had gone to Steve and said, look, I'm not voting for you either if you evict me here. I'm voting for Liz. And he knew that she had Vanessa, and that Liz had Vanessa and Julia and Austin. So he's down 3-0 going into a 9-person jury vote. If he had known that, I think there's a chance that he made. It would have clouded his decision-making process. But Steve thought he had Vanessa's vote locked if he evicted her. He thought she would be a gamer and vote for him. If she had told him ahead of time, look, I ain't voting for you, that it would be enough to muddy the waters a little bit.
Nicole, homegirl.
I was going to say, go ahead, Taran.
Oh, yeah.
I do think Steve still would have taken Liz, but I mean, obviously, it's something that Vanessa should have been doing more, and it's something that Paul should be doing more. Instead, he's talking a lot about how James doesn't deserve to be there.
Yes.
And the more Paul talks to Nicole about how he doesn't think James deserves to be there, the more mixed messages he's sending her.
Yeah,
even if he does say, "Oh, if you don't take me, I'm not going to vote for you," in the back of her mind, she's like, "Will you really though? Because we're just talking forever about how he doesn't deserve it. Are you really going to not vote for me?" So
he's doing himself such a disservice by going on about the fact that James doesn't deserve this. He hasn't done anything. He's literally coasted to the end. I mean, he's basically telling her, if it's you against him, I'm voting for you. And what he needs to tell her is that James has friends. James has done this. He's got a great social game. Like, he needs to play him up to get her scared of him.
Yeah.
Instead, he's bringing him down. Like, Paul, what are you doing?
All right, let's talk about what's been going down on the feeds today. I mentioned that not a lot really happened this weekend, but something very intriguing happened this morning. Alex, can you fill the audience in on what exactly went down?
Sure. Yeah, it was actually this afternoon and going into the evening, and it's funny. It's like my favorite day of feeds because there's 3 people really salty in the house right now. It's just over something they have absolutely no control over. They got an announcement that they were going to get a surprise, and they got really excited because of course they did, because they've got nothing to, be excited about. And Nicole's like, oh, maybe it'll be a puppy and all kinds of things like that. And nope. You get to sit down and watch a commercial for BB18, which starts a week after you get out of the house. And oh my God, you can't be serious. This is not happening. I want to vomit. Like, everyone is so upset right now. They especially Nicole and James. I mean, they realize that their 15 minutes are cut quickly into 3 minutes of fame here, and it's not an ideal situation.
Brent, what was your take on this whole situation?
Oh, I love it. I mean, this is Big Brother just totally effing with them at this point. Like, I mean, they had no reason to tell them this. Why tell them this? Like, when do they ever tell them anything about what's happening? And they decided, you know what, we're going to leave the feeds on. The feeds are now still on through Monday night. I'm sure at this time last season, the feeds were cut. Like, I remember when Steve and Liz and Vanessa drew that heart on the floor. We love you, America, whatever they did. And so it's just boggling to me that they showed them this. I think they're trying to promote it, and maybe like through... I just spit on my microphone. That was really funny. Through the feeds, they're trying to advertise BBOTT. And so I think that's what they're doing here by getting the house guests to talk about it. And then they give them a blackboard or a marker board, whatever you want to call it, to give tips. And so, of course, they staked out their each of them has a third. And James, Nicole, and Paul each put down their tips on how to do well in the game of Big Brother for the incoming house guests who are coming into the game. And the best part, as Alex noted, is that Nicole and James, really, of the three of them, and those two are so pissed. Nicole is outwardly pissed. She's been like, moaning about it and groaning about it. Like, I can't believe this, really. And then James is trying not to show everybody that he is pissed about it, but he's really pissed. And he knows that his 15 minutes, as Alex said, girl, they're gone. Like, literally, like you were on the gravy train last year. And that gravy train, it ain't going to keep going because we got new house guests to talk about. This shitty season is over. We're moving on. Girl, bye.
So if you guys were betting men, do you think James has already looked to the sky and asked to be on BBOTT? What are your guesses?
I would not be surprised if James.
You would be right.
You are correct.
Are you serious? He did?
Oh,
Yeah.
right
Oh my
away.
God.
Hey, Big Brother. Room for one more?
Can
Me? James?
Can I get on that? Like, he's in the house.
You can't
He's in
be
the house for
serious.
100 days, and he wants to get on this show.
Oh my God! I just thought you were messing with me, Taran. Did you know that?
yeah, well, this is James's life. Like, this is all he has. I mean, let's
That's all he
face it.
has.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, I'm sorry for James, but I think this is the most successful he's been in anything ever. and he enjoys it. And it's not surprising to me that he wants more.
Oh my gosh, poor. I feel for the guy. I'm like, no, dude, you just played 100 days of Big Brother and you want to go right back in? Like, Alex, he must have been. He had to have been joking, right?
Hell no.
I don't think he had to be, Jordan. Not at all.
Oh my goodness. Oh, poor. I feel so bad for James.
It gets better. So that happened, and then, like I said, they gave them a marker board, and so the three of us have down like exactly what the house guests have written to the incoming house guests, what the things that they have said, and then we're going to tell you what they should have said. So Alex is going to tell you what Paul wrote down to the incoming house guests, and Taran, I don't know, you were in it, like you didn't come into the chat, but do you have Nicole's, or do I need to like send that to you somehow, or do you have Nicole what she wrote?
I don't have it up and ready now.
Okay, cool. Well, if you don't, I can read it to you and you can talk.
Wait, hold on. You guys went behind Taran's back and created an entire
he wasn't. Remember,
him.
we had trouble getting into this podcast, so Taran wasn't here for that. So Alex and I were talking.
All right.
He was like, "I'll take Paul," and I said, "Okay, I'll take Nicole." And like James is really hard to read, so I finally found James and got it up in front of me. I gave Taran the easy one, which is Nicole, because it's all over Twitter, and he can read it. If he can't get it, I'll tell you guys what she said.
I think it was always a given that I was going to be writing the friendship tips. I think that was a foregone conclusion.
Yes, right? And if you're listening in the audio archives, come to the YouTube video, because Alex has actually wrote down. You can see Alex Kidwell's handwriting, and he
wrote Post-it note chicken scratch. Yeah,
and he put up his friendship tips to the camera. Rob has a website.com/YT if you want to check that out. Okay, Alex, go ahead. What were Paul's friendship tips?
All right, I'm going to read you Paul's friendship tips, and I don't actually want to change them. I think they're very organically Paul, and I like. So with these, I'm going to just kind of read them out, and then I like Brent's idea for the others. But so Paul's friendship tips. Number 1, drop your ego. Number 2, have fun. Number 2, be yourself unless you suck. Play your own game. You're not Derek or Dan, which is good advice, especially when you don't know who those people are.
And he spelled Derek correctly, thank God.
And he did, yeah. Number 5, F showmances. Number 6, call people out. It's fun. And number 7, always remember friendship.
Wow. Well done. Well done. There it is, Paul. I don't think anybody's surprised by any of those. No showmances. Well done, Paul. Well done.
What he should have written is, take James to the final 2. That's what his advice should be.
Yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been good. For the OTT people, they could use that advice. Okay, Taran, do you have the Nicole tips up or no?
I found an image, but it's a little hard for me to read.
Okay, so I'll let you work on it, trying to make it out.
We can have Brent read it.
No,
Nicole's are very colorful and artsy.
Yeah,
to the guys.
Taran, go to Big Brother Leak. Big Brother Leak on Twitter at Big Brother Leak LEAK, and they have it on there because there's a big fat picture of Nicole's. You can read it like clear as day. Okay.
While he's doing that, Brent, you go ahead. Why don't you read us what James had to say?
James is his title, Captain Camo's Pointers to Get Through Big Brother's Boot Camp. And like this, you guys should thank me. This chicken scratch is so hard to read. Like, I can't even believe I did this. I got a picture of it, and then I like had to like resize it and sharpen it. And I've eventually gotten to a point where I can read it. Okay. Number
like
1.
An episode of Dexter.
Right? Okay. Right. Thank you. Number 1.
Great show.
Don't be that guy or that girl. I don't know what he means by that, but
wait, isn't James that guy though?
Probably.
Me.
Number two. This is actually good advice. If a fight doesn't include you, walk away! ! So that's not terrible. That's
good advice.
That's good advice. That's good advice. Number 3. Take in more information than you give out. Not bad advice again. I'm like, where was this James? I don't know. He was like giving out advice like it was going out of style. Like I thought that, this one's a little harder to read. I know what it is. Find the cutest guy or girl and get into a showmance. But it says something about help you win comps or something like that. I think he's talking about getting into a showmance and taking turns. Like if they win a comp, they can protect you. You win a comp, you can protect them. That sort of thing.
Okay.
What was this? Number 5. This game is a marathon, not a sprint. Slow your roll. Don't chew your candy too long. I don't know. Can you guys explain that one to me?
I did not know that James was a philosopher. Wow. That is such insightful advice. I have never heard that anywhere before. Well done, James.
Right.
Really
Now,
resonates.
I must say that these next two, number 6, if anybody on Twitter can translate, I cannot. I've done the last word is house guest, something about find your house guest. I can't read it. So I'm going to skip to number 7. This is a good one, and James has been called out for this, especially on last season. Wash your hands after using the bathroom. Big Brother is always watching.
Paul keeps getting called out for that.
Right? And he's like, but I have to tell you guys, Paul got called out for it yesterday, and he was so mad at Big Brother. Of course, he'd been drinking a little bit too. And he's got mad at them and said, look, I just touched my penis. It's not like I put my finger up my butthole or something. Like, it was so Paul. I love it. Number 8, short bursts of cardio are your best friend. And number 9, good luck. Make the summer your best. Signed, James. Yay.
Wait. Did James just give a workout tip?
Right? What are you talking about? Like,
I've never.
He regretted not being in shape.
He regretted not being in shape for part 2 of the HOH competition. I think is what.
And for the slip and slide.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so there you go. James has some advice. Brent, any critiques on that advice? What would you have said if you were James?
If I was James, I would have said, pull lots of pranks. They'll help you get on TV. Make sure that if you notice the cameras are following you around, to do something funny and start pulling a prank right then, because then it'll for sure end up on TV. Make sure that you get into a showmance with a girl who you can't have. That way you're always moaning and groaning about it, and they'll show lots of it in the diary room. That's also a plus thing. Yes, I like that.
Beg for America's assistance early and often.
Exactly. Yes. I was just getting to that. Yes. Speak to the camera. Exactly. Address America like they are your best friend. Tell them exactly what you need, and it shall happen.
One other one, befriend Derek's dad. I heard that works well.
Did you know that that's his personal contact? Did you know that?
I saw that.
I tweeted that.
So wait, that's like his emergency contact is Derek's dad.
Yep. Apparently he gets into Rodney podcasts and James on Big Brother. It's all the same thing.
What? I'm sorry. Like, that is the weirdest thing. Like,
isn't he the same dude that gave Caleb a truck? I mean, is it that surprising?
He's like the Don King of reality television.
But like could you imagine
everyone?
The Don King? That's actually really good. But that would be like if if my emergency contact when I was on Big Brother was I guess like Derek's dad, like that.
Oh, what a great analogy! Wow.
No, but like I was trying to think of someone from the season West before me, but like literally that's it. It's just it doesn't make any sense. But regardless, somebody someday please solve the mystery of why James' emergency contact is Derek's dad. Taran, go ahead.
I have a small tweak to make in James's advice. Right off the bat, he says, "Don't be that guy," and I feel like this would be much more effective if he said, "Don't be this guy."
Yes.
I feel like that'd be better advice.
Point, Taran. Thank you very much. That was good. Good one, honey. Like it.
Yeah, and make sure when you do get in that showmance that it's with someone who may or may not have the firmest grasp on the strategy of the game, but that you for sure listen to and do everything they tell you. That's a given.
Oh, most definitely. Okay, Taran, last but not least, Nicole's advice. What did she have to say?
Okay, Taran, you read them, and then I'll tell you what she should have said. So do number 1.
Okay, well, she said number 1 is breathe, and I believe she says then seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say don't breathe if you're Nicole, but go ahead. Yeah.
I like how close. Taran, did you forget to wear your contacts today? I like how close.
It's a very difficult word to read here.
He's getting like so close to the camera. He's like, what does that say? What is it? I can't.
She is using like multiple colors for like shadowing effect and stuff. She's very artsy for a blackboard.
It's like cursive and small.
Wait, Nicole writes in cursive?
Well, that
it's
word
not cursive. It's girly. It's very flowy.
But yeah, I mean, breathe really. I feel like
Is that
a tip?
He had this down like 2 or 3 times. Alex and I were watching her. She erased it, and she apparently put it back in at the last minute. Like, girl, what are you thinking? Like,
That says everything. That's Nicole to a T. Breathe. Wait, no, I don't want to. That's not good enough. Breathe. Wait, no, that's not good enough. Wait, okay, breathe. That's she can't breathe.
You're right.
But that's the advice
should
she
they
needs
really
to listen to. So it makes sense that that's what she feels other people need to listen to. Like, it's like, I think there was once like a fighter who like he would draw like R's on his hands because he just needed to remind himself to relax when he's fighting. Like, some people just need that because they're so wound all the time. And that Exhibit A, Nicole.
I have never. Sorry. What R's on their hands?
Yeah, that was really confusing.
Yeah. It was. Yeah,
like in the middle of a boxing match.
In the middle of a fight, like you have your hands up and you see the R. You're like, right. I gotta relax.
I'd
like,
understand.
Constant reminder.
I'd understand R on your right hand and L on your left. Just reminders.
For symmetry purposes. Yeah,
right, left, right, left. Okay.
Yeah.
Taran
with the right
continue.
hook, which. Yeah. Anyway, number 2, be you. That's what got you here in the first place.
Dope.
Bullshit. Lay in bed for at least 22 hours a day and do nothing. That makes the feeders very happy.
That's what got her there.
That's what she should have said.
It's the same as Paul's, but it's not quite as good because it's not telling people they suck.
Yeah.
Yes. Number 3, make the best out of every situation.
Find the cutest guy and hide behind him for the entire season.
There you go. Number 4, feel free to trust your gut, head, and or heart.
Speaking of head, I've given plenty of it this season.
Oh!
That's what she should have said. Yeah.
Her heart can't take that right now.
Oh,
Guys, my heart hurts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
ooh.
I feel
I ain't
fine.
lying
Sting,
about
Brent.
that.
But my heart
You
is
think I'm
affected.
lying?
Right?
Please. It was like either that or a hand job underneath the covers every night. Like, come on.
I believe there was a booth. Number 5. Number 5, play Big Brother, not Big Baby.
Oh God.
Okay, that is
yeah.
so stupid. Like, I hate. Remember the Big Sister team name? Like, stop with these puns on Big Brother, right, Brent?
Yeah, I'm so over this too. Like Corey would always say that. Like, he thinks it's funny as shit. Like, we're playing Big Brother here, not Big Baby. Like, okay, yeah, that's real funny.
Your advice is good when you steal it from Corey. Like,
Well, it was her line originally. In
Yeah, it was her line apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And yeah, she got nominated, delivered that line, and then like went and cried for a while, and then proceeded to play Big Baby or so. Like, no one plays Big Baby more than Nicole, and no one like tells other people not to do it. But it isn't even a thing.
All right, Taran, take it away. Finish it off.
All right. Number 6, have the time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Something unpredictable.
And then she like wrote something really, really small, which I can't read, and says
I can't
something
read
about yours, Nicole. Yeah.
They
exactly.
something F something. I don't know.
okay, something F something.
We
And
need
then
the decoder.
XOXO. Good luck, Nicole.
Yes.
So there you go. Nicole's advice. Alex, Brent, anything you have to add on Nicole's advice before we keep moving
I
on?
mean, like this is just play Big Brother. Like no, these are not helpful tips. Like, this is like, give them something that will help them, like that will like be funny or like or screw with them. But like, they took it way too seriously. Of course, Nicole took it way too seriously. And the best part is that as they're doing this, they're stewing about the fact that they are not going to get their typical 15 minutes like they're used to. And frankly, I don't understand why Nicole's pissed. Like, Nick, if you guys may not know this, but Nicole never comes on podcasts or interviews. Like, the only time Rob is going to get Nicole is when he interviews her in the backyard on Wednesday. She's not going to come on RHAP. She's not going to come on with anybody else. She doesn't do things unless you pay her. And of course, RHAP isn't in the paying business, as you see.
Wait. He doesn't do.
She does. Like, that's true.
Aforementioned booth, sir.
Yeah. Okay. She will not do things unless you pay her.
Exhibit
Like,
B for booth.
Didn't she say earlier this season that she doesn't do autographs or pictures? Like, you have to pay.
She gets anxious around groups of people. Fans,
Hey.
she has that sort of like social anxiety, so she tends to stay away from that sort of thing.
Wow.
She's got a
James
mayoral
obviously
campaign to fund. Come on, she's gonna run for mayor of Ubly. She's got a campaign. She's got to fund these things. Like, these things they cost money.
And somebody reminded me in the chat what the number 7 was. It was try not to fall in love.
Ah, well, Nicole failed at that.
Bill.
Try harder, girl.
I think the saddest part about that is that it implies that she did actually fall in love with Corey.
Yeah, and of course there's Corey on the outside, Julie Chen. So Corey, what's going to happen now that you and Nicole are, after the season is over? Corey, well, we're friends, and she lives a long way away. Like, I mean, after the interviews, like when he's talking with other people, like Rob and other people through email, he was saying like, we live far apart. I don't know what she wants to. Basically, he's saying nothing's going to happen. Like, here's what's going to happen. They're probably going to screw at some point. I'm sure they probably will. And then after that, girl, bye. Like, it's going to quickly dissolve, just like Austin and Liz dissolved. And that's totally cool. It just seems like Nicole is expecting much more of this. Like, she thinks like Corey is just this amazing guy. And like, girl, like practically, how do you think this is going to work?
The extra weird part is that she's thinking and talking about Hayden today because he was on that BB18 commercial they had to watch. Look at your ex-boyfriend, Nicole. Look at him. Look at him. You don't have a choice, do you? Way to go, CBS. Classy.
Pretty much
well played.
Pretty much right after Corey left, she was talking about Hayden and how like it was coming back to her now. Like, oh man, I just really did him dirty.
Yeah, not gonna.
Crap.
Yeah, that's the right word for it, really, or phrase, I should say. Yeah, Nicole's gonna be in for an interesting adventure post show, especially if she has a lot of social anxiety with fans. So, I feel for Nicole. Okay, let's keep moving forward, guys. We got a couple segments today that will hopefully take up some time before we get into the questions. Brent, go ahead.
Before we get to the rankings that we might have done, I wanted to talk quickly about the fact that if you guys don't know about from watching the feeds, Nicole's speech at this point is like 6-7 minutes long. Like, it is so long. I don't even know how she's going to condense it into something that is salvageable. She's going to have to just drop like big parts of this. I think Steve had this problem last year, but he was able eventually to get it down to something that was really, really effective. I don't know if Nicole's going to be able to do that. On the other hand, what she's saying is really terrible, so I think it actually might work to her benefit that CBS might cut her off and say, girl, you only have 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. They told them both, you have 2 minutes. I don't really remember them having 2 minutes. Like, if you guys can help me out here, like, I don't think they give them
90 seconds, I feel like.
I'm thinking so, too. So, like, she keeps going on about the fact that, like, when I first started this, I got the phone call and my heart dropped and I was so thankful to be a big... Girl, no one cares about that. All of these people in the house got that phone call. Like, that's not pertinent. She's talking about the fact that week 1, I had to fight for my life. No one cares about that.
Glenn cares.
They only the people on the jury care about themselves. How did you interact with them? How did you help them or screw them over? Own your game. Own your shit. She wants to talk about things that are like week 1, week 2, week 3. Things that she keeps saying how she had to fight and it was her against the world. From Nicole's standpoint, she's talking like she played the best game of Big Brother ever. Like, I'm not kidding, you guys. This isn't me being facetious. She thinks she played amazing. And I think she's going to do herself such a disservice by, I can't remember, I think it was Coco the Bear on Twitter who said, Nicole played a good game. The problem is she played a great game, and that's going to screw her in the end. And I agree with that. Like, if Nicole goes up to the jury and says, I played a great game, and here are all the amazing reasons why, Corey, this, I had to fight. Like, the jury's just going to say, girl, stop. But hey, I worked hard. I made this move. I made this move that did this. And I fought my way here. I won some comps and I'm at the end. Like, that will be good enough. But I don't know that she can accept that the good enough is something that she needs to win. A great enough will not get her there because it's not believable.
Alex, has James prepped a final 2 speech at all?
Has James prepped for anything all season long? I mean, James right now, I think he's like just worried about people taking him now. Like he thought people were going to take him and now he's concerned they're not. So like earlier he was like eavesdropping at the sliding glass door when Nicole and Paul were talking outside. He's kind of like gone back to, his old tactics of creeping about and trying to hear something he's not supposed to.
Yeah, after his conversation with Nicole, where she basically was saying, I'm not going to take you because I think you have the votes, he was like, oh, man, I don't want her to know that.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't count on her knowing that I had the votes.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not good.
Oh, man.
So I
They
get,
realize mom and dad are talking about him, basically.
I give James credit for the fact that he's at least aware enough of the fact that he may be a threat to them. Like, he's not a total loser. I think he is a total loser, but there are some people in the jury who might be willing to vote for him, and he definitely knows that. So, at least he's aware of that. Like, at this point, I wasn't even like, it just, James is so terrible. Like, he's just like a bump on a log at some points, and it warms my heart a little bit that at least he's kind of aware of his surroundings and the precipice of where he's at right now. But sometimes you don't even get the fact that he knows.
Yes.
Taran, has Paul prepped it all? Is he done, or is he kind of just winging it?
No, he has a speech prepared, and it is under 2 minutes. He practiced with the microwave. It's a good one too. It's pretty good. I mean, as you could tell, Paul is good at these sorts of things. This is where we got our initial, like, actual definitive 100% confirmation. He definitely plans on taking Nicole. He mentions her in his speech. It's actually, I think, the weakest part of his speech, where he says, this girl here sitting next to me was the only one that cried, the first couple weeks, whatever, when I was put up on the block, which I'm not sure where that's coming from or what the purpose is.
He's playing too friendly again.
Yeah.
He thinks it's him and Nicole against the world at this point, that they earned their spots and it's them two that belong. If I honestly do wonder what will happen if because she's snowed him so hard at this point. I mean, hard, that if she cuts him on Wednesday night, if she wins and cuts him, could he vote for James?
Yeah, that's how James wins. I mean,
yeah. That's how we end up with the James winner. And I said on Periscope that there's no way James wins, but I didn't count on the fact that Nicole, like, I don't see what the point is of her telling Paul, I'm going to take you, when she knows she's not. Like, if Paul thinks it's in his best interest to take Nicole, her telling him, if I win, I'm not going to take you, or I may not take you because I'm nervous about you, that's not going to change. I mean, he's still self-interested. He thinks his best chance is against Nicole. So why is it so bad for her? Can you guys please answer this? Because I wonder this every season. Why is it so bad for her to tell him, I may not take you if I win because I'm nervous about how good your game is?
When you're in the final three, it's a lot about just, like, maintaining the status quo, because right now she feels like Paul will take her to the final two, and she doesn't want to tell him any new information that's going to upset that fact that he is going to take her. Anything that changes could change who he decides to bring with him, and the fact that could change is like, I'm not going to mess with that,
I guess. But on the other hand, you always talk about the fact that you're going for the win, not just to, like, get to the end, and her getting to the end doesn't help her if she doesn't win, I don't feel like. And if she does Paul this dirty, I feel like she's going to lose that vote, where if she gave him an idea of, I may take you, but I'm unsure because your game is so good, and really shower him with compliments, I feel like that's not going to change what Paul's going to do. Paul's going to take her whether or not she's taking him because it's best for his game. I don't know.
He is very vindictive, though, right? Like, he is the kind of person who I think would say, oh, you're going to bone me? All right, I'm going to bone you right back. I'm going to take James.
At this point, I think the train has left the station. Like, the cow's already out of the barn, and she can't close the door. So I feel like I agree with you at this point. She has to continue on with this plan of hers to totally bone Paul. And you guys don't even understand. Like, they've had conversations where they're celebrating each other's achievement, how James doesn't deserve to be there. And if she totally screws him over on finale night and makes him look like an ass, I really I don't think that's a good play for her. But it's already happened at this point. So, oh well.
Alex, what's the move for Nicole in your opinion here?
I mean, it's tough. It really just comes down to the person that you're dealing with more so than, this move is going to be right 100% of the time versus this other move. It's a question of knowing how people will react to certain things. And that's something you really can't predict. It comes back to the Johnny Mac conversation of, like, people think you're in a showmance. That's a problem. People think you're not in a showmance, then they're going to, wonder what that is. So it's tough. I do think Paul is someone that maybe, I agree with Taran. He's got a vindictive streak. We've definitely seen that. Ideally, yeah. I mean, I think her problem is she hasn't necessarily fully decided what she needs to do. And it's like, once you make your decision, then you can start to formulate how to best implement that plan. Her kind of back and forthness has kept her from being able to execute anything one way or another. And that's really her problem. I think, whichever decision she makes is, probably James is certainly I would think James is the right decision for her. But yeah, I think at that point you do need to maybe, you don't necessarily tell Paul that you're not going to take him, but maybe you taper expectations somehow.
It's a tough move, right,
tough.
Taran?
It is tough. And, if I had to guess, I might actually guess that she has a better shot against Paul than against James. I think that, she obviously has Paulie, Zakiya, and Corey. And then with Paul next to her, I think she might have Natalie and James, which is enough for a win. Natalie did say that she would vote for Nicole in the case that James was not in the final two. And obviously, once James gets to jury, he's just going to look to Natalie and be like, who? And Natalie's going to be like, Nicole played the better game. That is, unless Victor got in there and Natalie loves Victor, and maybe Victor has convinced her that Paul is the best player ever. And, that's the thing with the jury. It's so hard to predict. But that said, I do think she probably has a better shot against Paul. And so I would want her to take him there anyway, just because I think that's the best shot. And honestly, personally, because of the reasons she states. Like, I'd much prefer to see a Nicole Paul final two, just so there is no worst case scenario where James is the winner.
I think we're all on board with you there, sir.
Her one ace in the hole, if she cuts Paul and really screws him over on finale night with no tapering of expectations whatsoever, her one ace in the hole, I feel like, is to say to Paul, either in the jury questioning or I think probably in the jury questioning, because I don't feel like when you're about to evict somebody, I don't feel like anybody's really listening to you. I feel like they're not hearing it. Her one ace in the hole is saying, I have to go up against another vet in the finale. I just have to. I cannot take the chance of going against a newbie. I'm afraid people are going to hold it against me that I'm a vet, and I have to take James to the final two. That's her one thing she can say that I feel like Paul can grab onto and say, okay, now I know why she evicted me. But if she doesn't have a reason really, other than I feel like, have a better chance against him, then all the things that they're bonding about right now are really going to rear their head, and he's going to feel hurt. He's going to feel embarrassed on finale night, like Vanessa felt embarrassed last year. And I think that's a big part of the reason why she voted for Liz, because she was embarrassed.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, you say definitely, but I don't know if you guys saw this. I wanted to touch on this quickly. Anyway, this Hollywood Reporter article that came out today, where they interviewed past players, name players, and what they thought about this season and who should win at this point and stuff. One thing that I thought was particularly interesting, aside from I'm sure what Taran enjoyed most, which was Frank saying he might reconsider his vote in Big Brother 14.
Frank, guys. Frank.
Yeah, was Janelle saying she would have absolutely voted for Liz over Steve, which I found interesting and I vehemently disagree with.
Wow, that is Janelle.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I can't explain that one. I have such respect for Janelle. I feel like she plays a good game. I loved her on my rankings when we did her. You guys basically didn't give her much credit, and I love her. I think she's.
Now I feel good about that.
Right? I know, right? And I'm like pissed. I'm like, because I don't understand how you can I can understand it at the time. Not really, but if you weren't paying attention to the feeds and all, I can sort of understand how you can I want a woman to win. Liz has worked. She's a fine, upstanding girl, whatever, and Steve kind of floated along behind Vanessa. Give it to Liz. I can see that. But a year later, is she friends with Liz and we don't know this? You have to know that Steve played a hard ass game last season, one that I really have a lot of respect for. And for Janelle not to really give that much of a chance in her comparing the two, I thought was a little bit of disrespect.
It's possible they are friends, because Janelle mentions later in the article that her and Portia are good friends, and didn't Portia find the Nolans? I think that.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that's it.
They're all connected.
Yep.
It's all connected.
All in the same boat.
Yep. Okay, let's keep things rolling. I tried to start a segment earlier, but Brent, good move by you. That was
sorry. I think it was important to bring up their speeches and what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. That's totally fair, my friend. Okay, so we got two things we got to talk about. Brent teased one thing. I think we're going to save that for after. quickly, because we were talking about the final two scenarios so much here, I just want to get your guys' opinions on the votes. So let's just talk about, hypothetically, if we run into certain scenarios, who is voting for, or whom is voting for? Is it who is voting for who, or whom is voting for whom?
Who's voting for whom?
Thank
whom
you, Brent.
Who is
That's it.
objective? Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, so who is voting for whom? Let's just take a look here. So if it's Paul versus Nicole, guys, who is Davon voting for, in your opinion?
I think she's voting for Paul.
Paul just screws everything up, right? Like
The first one you throw out there.
Right? The first one's the hardest one, right? Like I think
No,
Davon
a lot of them are hard.
Yeah, a lot of them are hard. I just think I can't. I don't know if we really want to talk about each individual one. I'm my overall faith in the Enterprise is that I believe that Paul beats Nicole. I believe that with all my heart. I do, and I'm not going to accept anything else. So at this point, I have to feel like that Victor and Natalie are going to vote for Paul. I feel like James is going to vote for Paul. I think that Davon and Michelle, I think even Michelle. In fact, I think everybody but Corey at this point, I think could be a Paul vote. I know you guys think that Paulie and Zakiya are in lockstep and they're going to vote for Nicole. Number one, I don't think they're in lockstep necessarily when it comes to this vote. Zakiya might use it as an opportunity to show that she's not exactly doing her Paulie's bidding. I'm holding out hope here.
Still holding out hope for Zakiya.
Number two, the most important thing is that I do not believe that Paulie is necessarily going to vote for Nicole because Paulie had very good relationships with Paul. He liked him a lot.
he's gonna stab his bro Corey in the back.
I cannot finish even a sentence. God damn it! Like he will vote for him. I feel like there's a chance. I feel like there's a chance he will vote for him. And yeah, I can see what you're doing over there. And I think Zakiya will follow then. So if Zakiya's following what Paulie's doing, it could be 8-1 for Paul over Nicole. Let's hope.
But okay, there.
Okay,
Alex,
we'll see.
Aaron,
We'll see.
there's no way this is going to be 8-1 Paul.
No way.
Paul win.
Well, let's talk about who are the most obvious swing votes in this scenario. I mean, I think Davon is hard to predict.
Okay,
Hard to predict.
With Davon, I based on what we've seen from Davon in the jury house, she is talking about Nicole's game in a very positive light. It's
True.
Somewhat begrudgingly, but it's very positive. On her way out of the house, she was talking very negatively about Paul. She was saying that he was a coward for not telling him what was going on. He lied to her in his goodbye message and never told her the truth, never owned up to the fact that he was in on it from the beginning to nominate her as a pawn, and also somebody that was going to go home, and that he knew that. So that's the last we heard of Davon talking about Paul at all. So as far as I'm concerned, it definitely looks like she has a large potential to vote Nicole over Paul.
Here's the other thing. It's like they've already talked to Dr. Will, and we know this. And we know that, like, at the very least, probably Michelle and maybe even Bridget, like, we're probably charmed by him because who's not? And they may have, like, adjusted accordingly based on his take. So something to factor in, too, I think.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if I talked about, I think I may have brought it up in my Periscope, I'm not sure, but when you guys were going on about the fact that, like, Paulie didn't even bring up Paul at all, like, he said something about Corey. Okay, we don't know that. Okay, they may have cut it out.
Let me tell you this. Okay, I'm going to cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah, he probably did, and he probably crapped all over Paul's game, and that's probably, or he was just.
That sounds like a lot of probablys, though, JP. No offense.
No, but
this is coming from the dude that was like, "Oh, Paulie and Zakiya are gonna vote for Paul over Nicole."
What I'm trying to say is that I think that he might have had positive things to say about Paul, and they just don't want to show that. Like,
why would they? I feel like either if they wouldn't have shown it, if either he said very negative things about Paul or like a very bland, like,
why is he going to be mad at Paul over everybody else?
Because he screwed
over James. He was so mad at James.
Well, I think maybe the fact that that they didn't show anything means either he didn't say anything or that what he said wasn't particularly good or bad. And both, I think, are indications that he doesn't necessarily think Paul is playing a very proactive
right, well, I called my shot.
time.
I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You guys know how I feel. I think Paulie's vote is up for grabs with Paul against Nicole. I really do.
Completely disagree. Okay.
Yep.
So Zakiya, we're thinking, again, Brent, you're saying Zakiya is going to do what Paulie does. And I guess Alex and Taran, you're probably in agreement on that as well, right? Like Zakiya is probably just going to vote where Paulie votes.
Yeah, and I think that's going to Nicole.
Well, she seems to be eating where Paulie eats and drinking where Paulie drinks and sleeping where Paulie sleeps. So why wouldn't she vote where he votes?
Right?
Unless there's some sort of mass reconciliation after that huge fight. You know what? Like, again, like anything could have happened after the last time we saw the jury.
Fancy.
Yeah,
Says
for all
the
we know,
dude that thinks Pauly and Zakiya are going to vote for
Bitch, I've called my shot, all right?
for all we know, Pauly and Davon have gotten married in that jury house since then. For all we know.
Right.
Right?
It could have happened. It could have. After the fight.
Life is crazy that way.
Okay, so we're thinking Zakiya's probably going to Cole. We're thinking Pauly's probably going to Cole. Sorry, Brent.
All right.
Davon, what did we say? Did we say Davon was probably Paul?
She's a toss-up, but these bitches think that she's going to Nicole, so fine. Give it
No,
to her.
I laid out a case for why she might go Nicole, but again, the whole thing with Pauly just screws everything up, because if Pauly is going for Nicole, maybe Davon is now really prejudiced against going for Nicole, and now she's going to go for Paul for completely separate reasons from what we could possibly analyze.
Maybe for now we'll just go opposite of Pauly, okay? Why don't we just say that for Davon? Bridget, probably in unison with Davon, right?
Maybe, or maybe she's with Natalie, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yes, this is hard. I mean, I should have really.
Maybe she just like, Bridget did have, or maybe she just, if she decides to do her own thing, I think Bridget was always closer with Paul than she was with Nicole in the house. But yes,
I think that the best way to.
But Paul also, just totally tried to like mess with her mind the week Frank was leaving. To like, Frank's still bitter about it. Frank said he wouldn't vote for Paul.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
she 8 weeks ago. Seriously.
She didn't know about it then, but she
Give me a
now. I'm
break.
sure she does now.
Go ahead, Brent.
No, it's just like I just think that you're getting into an area that is really hard to analyze, like probably above our pay grade when you're trying to tell me like, well, I don't know, like Davon, she was going to do this, but maybe because of the whole Pauly thing, like, I don't know, like she's going to do the opposite of him, but we don't really know that because they did like at least find a, God damn it, there's a fly.
Like that's the point though. That's the point of what I'm saying. I think juries in general are hard to predict.
I would just rather, for my own purposes, remove that aspect and just not pay attention to it right now, because I feel like it's really hard to analyze otherwise. So all things being equal, I feel I'm okay giving you guys Nicole, and I just feel like it's better to just treat it like that, because otherwise we're not going to come up with anything.
Here's a good argument in Brent's favor. Julie says Paul should win, so that means maybe Dr. Will goes to the jury house thinking Paul should win. So maybe that means the jury thinks Paul should win after everything is said.
And Julie said by her count, Paul wins against either person. So there's that.
Wow.
And, maybe it wasn't the case.
That's by far the strongest evidence toward Paul.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't want to look like a fool, and she knew what she was talking about last season. So there you go. I mean, I don't discount anything that she says. Big Brother's producers have a strong hand, and in the jury, I feel like they can have a strong hand if they want to. And her saying that, I mean, that shouldn't fill Nicole fans with glee that Julie Chen, the host of the show, in the face of Big Brother, is saying that Paul wins by her count no matter who he's sitting against. Because that if he doesn't win, then it looks like a bitter jury, and they don't want that.
The red right hand of CBS.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, so you know what? I'd like to throw competitions. Maybe we should just throw this segment. I feel like it's going to be too tough, and it's going to take too long. And
well, that's what I said. Like, I just feel like it's easier to call like, okay, Paul against Nicole.
So Paul versus Nicole. Brent,
Paul wins.
Paul wins.
And Nicole versus James. Nicole wins. I'm saying that.
Okay, Alex and Taran. Paul versus Nicole. Who you got? I'm saying Nicole.
Yeah, based on what I saw in the game without the speculative stuff, I think Nicole beats Paul.
Yeah, I can't say Paul right now, but I like
it sucks.
Okay,
but I still kind of will. But I don't know.
Alex, let me ask you this question: gun to your head, Paul or Nicole, who wins? Gut, like who should gut say?
Paul.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so there we go. So Paul.
And how about Nicole versus James? Taran, who wins Nicole versus James? Gun to your head, who wins?
James.
Okay. Alex.
Not the fans.
Not the fans, indeed.
Man.
And then Brent, you say Nicole wins in that.
Here's the thing. I honestly want to believe, Big Brother 14 aside, that when the players go up there for that it's a solemn thing. Like I really want to do a good job as a juror here and vote for the best player. If they're doing that, Nicole beats James, and
Nicole beats Paul.
and Paul beats Nicole. I really do believe that is how it will work if that's what they're thinking, and I do believe that they honestly want to do that.
It's funny. It still could be the opposite.
JP,
Right?
you played this game and you were on the jury, so you're shaking your head like people don't give a shit about who played the best game. They're thinking about what? What are they thinking about?
He was on a bad jury.
Well, Jordan, I think this is like I can't remember another jury that reminds me of yours like this, where it's like you've got 3 people, and I didn't know at all what was going on between Godfrey, Ashley, and Sarah. I didn't know who the front runner was going into that final 3. I didn't know who the dog was going into that final 3. I wanted to see Godfrey win, kind of the way I want to see Paul win, because they were both charismatic and entertaining throughout the course of the season, and they seemed to work harder than the other people who were there at that point in time. But, I went into a finale clearly with a different perspective than you guys did on that jury. So,
the reason I don't think the reason I don't think the Paul Godfrey comparison is apt here is because I feel like Godfrey played a very inward game that couldn't be seen by people. I feel like Paul's game is all over the place. You see it everywhere. You know exactly what he did.
And also, Jordan, who hosted your jury segment?
Visible.
Ian Terry, the great Ian Terry hosted our jury segment.
Love Ian, but he's not gonna just enter a room and make people want to just do whatever he says the way a doctor will probably will.
Also, Ian was he didn't really try to sway us in either way. But let's just wrap this comparison up. I get what you guys are saying, and it's a great point, Alex. I mean, it's so hard to predict. Who knows what the hell is going on? What I will say to rebut what you said, Brent, about people not voting for the best player. Everybody says they're voting for the best player, but they're not. They're voting for the person who they like/respect the most. That's what they're gonna do.
That's gotta be Paul.
Friends with.
I mean, those girls hate Nicole. They hate Nicole.
I don't know.
Cool.
The respect is a big part, though.
Respect is a big part, and if you call someone to see you next Tuesday,
that is steady. Let me say this, and I'll shut up. The C word thing is the most overblown piece of evidence that all three of you have talked about all season long. Like, I'm so sick of that. If you think that they're in for 100 days and they're stuck in jury for a big amount of time, and they're going to let everything come down to, oh well, you called Michelle, who we all kind of know is a nut job, the C word. Give me a break. Girl, bye. Like, stop. No.
I don't think it'll be a factor for other people, but you don't think Michelle is capable of holding grudges? I kind of do.
I'm with Brent.
I'm a picture of Nicole as a snake.
I'm with Brent here. I don't think
she's going to remember that stuff.
I don't think they care either.
I think in Paul versus James,
they don't care about what
she
happened
remembers
to Michelle.
it.
Paul
versus Nicole,
I'm not saying what they're saying. I'm saying that Michelle is not going to vote for him. I don't, the other people.
No, I don't see it. No.
At this point, whatever.
She hates Nicole more. But okay, go ahead.
Snake hole. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we're done with that. So we have no idea. Basically, the point of that was we have no idea what's going to happen. We just talked for like 25 minutes and nothing came out.
Finale week.
Yeah,
it's like my Twitter mentions in a podcast form.
Yeah, it just wasn't. Who freaking knows? So it's either going to be the greatest night ever, or James is going to win. So we will see how that goes. And I'm looking forward to it very much. But
if James wins, I will get out the hat and the veil again, and Rob will be on with me. Yes.
Okay, I'm very happy for that. It should be a lot of fun. Okay, last segment of the night. We had this very ambitious idea from someone on Twitter, I believe, and I'm sorry if I got this wrong. I believe it was at HOH Mastermind. At HOH Mastermind tweeted me and said, hey, you guys should do a ranking for all of the players that were on this season of Big Brother 18, like you normally do for, your winner rankings and like all these other things, so that we can kind of get your take on who was the best player this season. So HOH Mastermind, we agreed. We thought that was a cool segment, so we are going to do that. We have already ranked all of the players from Big Brother 18, 1 to 16, in terms of who we thought was the best, in terms of who we believe could win a random season on their own, who would have the most win equity. And instead of taking 3 hours to do this, I'm just going to break this up into 4 chunks. So just to give you our results. So we'll start with the bottom 4 guys. Coming in at number 16 was the Messiah, Jose. Big surprise. So Jose came in at 16. Zakia came in at 15. That surprised me a little bit, but maybe not so much. Glenn.
It surprised
Glenn.
you because you forgot she was a house guest.
Exactly.
She
Glenn.
was literally, I forgot. I was at 15. I was like, who am I forgetting?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
So Jose at 16, Zakia at 15, Glenn. He was in the house for 20 hours. Still better than those two by our account.
I refuse to rank him.
Less
I gave him an
negative evidence.
incomplete because I have yet to see the guy play Big Brother for a second. I
Yeah,
can't.
we saw a little bit.
No, we didn't. We heard him tell us what he says he did, allegedly.
Let me just tell you guys that I ranked Glenn ahead of James, Davon, Michelle, Frank, Josiah, and Zakia. Like I ranked him 10. Like
I think
that's how
somewhat
crazy this
fair.
shit
I
is.
think if Glenn is basically a mystery player, like replacement level at because he's random, then
Right.
people who are below replacement level are going to theoretically be below him.
And I feel like we got a little window into his soul when he was on with Rob, and he, I
Hey,
was
he said he was going to win the game, Brent.
I was throwing
You
shade
call
on
it
him.
replacement level.
I was throwing shade on him about what he was going on about because it's fun to do, but like some of the things he said were pretty apt and valid. So yeah, I liked what I was hearing from Glenn.
So for the record for Glenn, yes, Brent was the highest. He had him at 10. Alex, he just put him at 16 because he didn't know how to rank him.
I refuse to rank him. I did 1 through 15, Jordan.
Counted as
Principles.
16 for me.
Asterisks.
And Taran put him at 15. I put him at number 11. Yeah. So Brent and I were high on Glenn, but otherwise no. And rounding out the bottom four, the first of the returning players. He's got a big booty. It's Frank Udy. So there we go. Frank is coming in at 13. Started out real hot for Frank, but
Stock definitely took a hit this season. Some people
Yeah.
thought he was like, he was actually, I think coming into the season, people thought like, well, there's maybe one of these returnees could have actually been in a genuine all-star season. Nope.
no.
Nope.
No.
No.
Frank got essentially coached by one of the at least mid-range winners of Big Brother. He came back a second time with plenty of experience. He's great at competitions. He has everything going for him, and he still fails. I mean, it's just
I don't think he wins any season of Big Brother. He wins too many competitions. He likes to brag about it. He's totally overbearing. It's unable for him to not get into fights with people. That's why I had him so low. Sorry.
Okay. Anybody complaining about that bottom four? I think we were kind of all the bottom. We were all pretty,
And the
we're on
top,
same
yeah.
page. And the top. The middle was it was hard because there's a lot of terrible players, a lot of like just bad players, and then some good players. So that was the bottom four again: Jose, Zakia, Glenn, and Frank, from 16 to 13. The next quadrant was coming in at number 12, another returning player. I love her to death, but unfortunately, she's just not built for this game. Davon. Davon is in at number 12. It wasn't really high on anyone's board. I don't think any of us believe Davon could win a season of Big Brother, unfortunately. Number 11 is my homegirl, Big Meech. I think Michelle maybe could if like literally everything went right for her, but no.
But the second something goes wrong. Oof,
I have to say, if James doesn't come down from that wall competition, we could be looking at Big Meech as the winner, or at least a final 2 spot. Because you have to think if he wins, then at that point, he's going to go ahead and obviously going to keep Michelle. Michelle's going to stay in the game, and he's going to take out Victor or Paul at that point. Corey and Nicole are going to be threatened by that threesome. I don't know if Michelle goes there, but there's a better than average chance that they want to break up Natalie and James, and Michelle might be able to stay in the game. So who knows?
Although I feel like at that point, James has taken a very active role in the game, and Michelle has become like, the longer Michelle stays in the game, the more she's responsible for people going home, and she hasn't necessarily been good at smoothing things over with people as they go out. So there's that whole jury management side that we'd have to look at that we never really had to explore with her too.
So Michelle was in at number 11. Number 10, just an amazing individual. They call him the Butterfly. Paulie came in at number 10. I definitely was the lowest on Paulie. I had Paulie all the way down at 16. You guys actually weren't so bad to Paulie. Alex, you had him at 9. Brent, you had him at 7. And Taran, you also had him at 9. So
He gets the game. I mean, just those emotional outbursts are a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, anytime, I worry about Paulie anytime things don't go his way. Like, he was in control for so long, and then when he wasn't in control anymore, or people did things without consulting him or against him, his temper is so volatile. Like, it was amazing to me, like that much anger comes out of somebody. And then it went from anger to feeling terrible and crying and being mopey. And like, you have to have a spiritual center if you play Big Brother well. And I just don't think he has that.
And then he started baking pies.
I love that. That's one of the questions Corey missed, because like he's like, what day did Pauly start baking pies? And he put up the day, but that was the day of the veto comp. But of course, the producers didn't make him do it until the next day. Right.
So Pauly was baking pies?
Taran, what do you think about Pauly? Was I too harsh putting him all the way at the bottom?
Yeah, you were way too harsh. I mean, I get that you don't like him, but like he did decently well in the game up until he completely imploded. And I think
I had complete control of the house for like 9 days, bro. Right in the middle of the game.
If Pauly uses the veto on Zakiya, how is he doing right now? Like, is he still there? Do things look different for him?
I think the fact that he loses Paul is something that will make him fail the game regardless of when it happens. But I do think that, you know, if Victor doesn't come back into the game and Paul doesn't have as many options, then maybe that's a different scenario. There are a lot of different ways that things could have gone right for Pauly, and when things go right for Pauly, he's not nearly as bad as we were shown at bad Pauly. So that's true. I don't think he should be last.
Bad Pauly's real bad though, Taran. Real bad. I don't know.
Taran's the new Jose talking scenarios.
Okay, so that was Pauly was in at number 10. I'm just trying to think here. So 1, 2, 3. Last of this quadrant. Probably complete opposite feelings towards this person. One of my favorite players in years, Victor, comes in at number 9. L-Fit Vic did not fit. I wanted to put him higher. I actually think I was the highest on him. I had him at number 8. Alex, you had him at 10. Brent, you had him at 9. Taran, you had him down at number 12. And you know what? I'm fine with that because he got evicted 3 times.
3 times.
So, I mean, they're really, I don't know. Victor, I feel like Victor is a guy who also really, like, could Victor ever win a season? Probably not, right?
This was his best shot.
Yeah, he'd have to get into some sort of bromance, something with the buyback, and I don't know. Even then, it might be tough for him. He's such a good, likable player, and he's good at comps, and he's too trusting. But on the other hand, if a little bit of luck goes his way, like let's go back to the final 6, okay? If Natalie wins that HOH comp, or if Corey wins that HOH comp, and they had many, many shots to knock that last letter down, if they win at that point, Corey's going to go after James and Natalie, and then the next week, Victor's going to win the slip and slide competition and go after Corey and Nicole, or I don't know what he does there, but he's going to be in the game, and then he has a shot to get to the end. And Paul has won these last 2 competitions, the Final 4 veto and the Final 4 HOH. So a little bit of luck goes the other way, and Victor's sitting pretty. I
mean, to be fair to Corey was throwing that competition because
But he was nervous when he saw. No, he wasn't throwing it. He was throwing it at first when he saw.
He didn't want to win it if he didn't have to.
You're right. You're right. He didn't want to win it, but he also didn't want to.
Victor was not thinking along those lines.
God, can I get one sentence out?
Because Corey, I know everyone knows what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
That he didn't want to win it unless Natalie looked like she was going to win it.
And
Natalie
really
looked like she was going to win it.
Because they can't control Natalie. Natalie's going to be pissed. But that's important. So he was trying to win the competition.
But I was pointing out that Corey went into that competition knowing the right strategy. Victor did not because he just wins.
I think Victor is more of a dicey case, but Corey quickly went from not wanting to win it to thinking, I have to win it now because I can't let Natalie win because then we're in deep shit.
Because that was correct, though.
Okay, bitch, you're missing the point. I'm saying if a little bit of luck goes a different way, like you're arguing some arbitrary theory.
All I was saying was that Corey's still better.
Have this argument that's like over here on the left-hand side that no one gives a shit about. I'm talking about the fact that if a little bit of luck goes a different way, Victor's in the final 3.
I wasn't rebutting you.
God.
I was adding a separate point. You're defending against
here.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
Fighting until the bitter end, guys. Oh man, what a treat!
I was fine. I was laying back until then. We get to this point. Fine.
I do think, I think, the question, could Victor ever win Big Brother is kind of similar to the, could Ozzy ever win Survivor type of thing, right? Like, this is the guy who, I don't really want to play the strategic game. I want to find people who are loyal to me, and those are the people I want to roll with. And then if people betray me, they're like, oh, let me get this knife out of my back type of thing. But
so yes, the answer is no. So the answer is no.
The right time of season, and no, the answer is yes. Ozzy came very close to winning Survivor. If he wins one more challenge, he's there. I think you just have to set him up at the right kind of season. This one was very comp oriented, and that's what he needs, a comp oriented season.
But honestly, I think anybody can win any season of Big Brother with enough luck. I mean, Jordan Lloyd.
No. Devin is never winning Big Brother, Taryn.
So you say that
Devin
until they
Jose
cast
final
him
two,
with
what happens?
Until the cast is one Devin, one Ginger Ninja, and then 14 less intelligent Ginger Ninja clones.
Here's what I will say about Victor, okay? Victor will win. This is the season Big Brother, or Victor will win. Big Brother Canada, Canada versus the US. Victor's on Team America. There's a bunch of twists. He comes back 5 times. Canada votes in to give him superpowers, and then he wins the season.
Victor could absolutely win a season of Big Brother Canada.
Victor would, yeah. He'd be like a better version of the Pax Bros. Okay. So let's jump to the next quadrant. So that's half the cast. So we don't actually have a number 7 and number 8. We actually had a tie for 7. So there's 2 people there. James, this is where he came in. James came in as a tie for number 7 with Bronte. Believe it or not, Bronte. I kind of forgot about Bronte as well, but I like Bronte. She was, not the greatest, not the worst. So she wasn't super high on my board, but not super low.
Bitch, are you smoking crack? Like you had her the highest out of all of us. You had Bronte.
No, but not even that. But not that. Like relatively though, I had her at 6. You guys had her at 8 and 7. So I mean,
no, you had her at. You're not looking at this right. You had her at 7. I had her at 9. Alex
no,
had
I had
her
her
at
at
9.
6. I'm looking at this right. I had her at 6.
Yeah, you had him.
Okay.
I had her at 6. You had her at 8.
Even worse, you had her at 6. Oh my God! Like
no, but like that's not even that high. This season, like literally, there's no good players. Brent.
I know. I just sorry. I was laughing because you're like, I didn't have her that high, and I'm like, you had her higher than 2/3 of the cast. But Oaksy, it's cool. I like Bronte, and I agree with the assessment. Like I think it took a really specific circumstance to get her out. Like I think that ideally they probably wasn't Paul up for eviction, or did he win the veto? I can't remember what happened that week.
Paul, there were 3 people nominated.
They were gonna blindside Tiffany, right?
Yeah, and they changed from Tiffany to Bronte.
Yeah,
Paul,
thank you.
Paul was better at deflecting the target, so it went on to Bronte instead of Paul.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
Well, I while you were thinking about that, I thought that Tiffany was gone that week. I think even Taran was on this podcast saying it was like 5% chance that she was going to stay, and then she stayed. So, the fact that Bronte went out, really unlucky there, and a little bit of luck goes her way. I think she's sitting pretty too.
I think like with Bronte, it's comparable, I think, a little bit to like, if we were to rank like Dominic, maybe it's like, this is a person who got kind of trapped in a rookies alliance in a season where veterans came in and just were immediately by week 2, you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't gotten in this rookies alliance, but it's too late, So this is, you heard conversations from Dominic, maybe a little more so from Dominic, but from Dominic, from Bronte. These are people that began to figure out the game, began to have a good strategic mind for the game, but they were already, spent by that point. Right. They had pretty much cashed in all their chips by week 2, and then they were just waiting for their time. So that's the problem. And I think if she got another shot, she would do better.
I think there's a serious comparison to Paul. They both made very serious mistakes in the beginning of the game, and both quickly learned how to rectify those mistakes. Bronte was just a little bit worse than Paul at being able to rectify those mistakes as quickly as possible. And she took the hit where he might have, and she went out and he went further. And I think that if Bronte had stayed instead of Paul, I think she could have done somewhat as well as Paul has done.
You remember when that was like looking like it was going to be a showmance? That was forever ago.
Yeah, Paul and Bronte. I remember that. I think we even talked about it on this show.
Yeah. What is girls? I love Paul when he said that. It was so cute.
So good.
Right.
Okay. So James and Bronte, they tied for 7. We don't need to talk about James. We talked enough.
You guys, I feel like you guys are lower on James than he deserves. I mean, I like making fun of James, and I don't want to see him win. But he's done a decent job this season.
Okay. So here, again, actually not again, just so the audience knows, Taran had James at 4. So pretty high on his list. I had James at 7. Brent had James all the way down at number 11, and Alex had him at 7. So I don't know. I thought Alex and I were fair. I think 7 is, that's where he ended up in the tie. I think that's kind of fair for James. He does nothing. He's kind of just like, hey, what's up? And like, I'm James. Like, I'm gonna play pranks, Captain Camo.
I don't know how you can rank him 4th when he basically opened up his big mouth and exposed to Nicole and Corey that Natalie was considering getting rid of Corey. Like, how can you say that he's a good player in the top 4 this season?
Well, here's the thing I think is interesting, and maybe Taran, you'll agree with this, is that, we did rankings, but we could have easily done like grades, right? Like student grades. And I think whether you have James at 4 or James at 11, like you're probably giving James like a straight C. You know what I mean?
Right.
James is that very on the level C student. And the reality is there's really no A students this year. There might be an A- or a B+ in there. But a C student is looking awfully good this year relative.
That would have been more fun. We should have done that.
John Swift in the chat says a 4 on this cast is like an 8 on a normal cast, and I completely agree with that. That's why James is this high. He made a lot of big mistakes, and I don't like a lot of his game, and I don't even like his philosophy of gameplay, but it's still better than anybody else. I couldn't think of anyone better. I really couldn't, and that's why he's there. And, he did do some things right. He threw the competitions he needed to. He laid low enough. He made good relationships. He had a very decent social game.
He got a girlfriend. Or not.
Right, like he made it pretty far, and he might actually win this game. And I think that there's something to be said about that. We've been talking about him all season as, man, look at James. He's in a great spot, and he's continuing to do well. And he didn't mess that up for himself for a really long time. And that's more than we can say for most of the people on the cast.
Okay, so there we go. So James and Bronte tied at 7. Number 6. I was surprised she was this high, but I guess it makes sense. Tiffany Russo comes in at number 6. I wanted to rank Tiffany higher, but I couldn't really think of anything she did that really impressed me this season. Alex, can you help me out?
My thing wasn't really what she did so much as what she got targeted for, which was namely being a Russo. Like, I really feel like Tiffany, if she comes into a season where she's not Vanessa's sister, coming off a season where Vanessa played, that she actually is able to maybe find footing and get people to want to work with her. She entered the game pretty much drawing dead, because not only is she Vanessa's sister, and everyone can pretty much tell from the way she's acting, she didn't play it well. And then also Davon's in there, and Davon is, she could say like, I want to bury the hatchet and work with Vanessa's sister, but you probably, ever since last summer, you've probably had nightmares about Vanessa, and now here you are hearing that same voice when you close your eyes. You're gonna target this person soon.
There was definitely some spillover effect from last season with Davon. I mean, she could not anything. Things are gonna go wrong with people as the season goes on. Like, you're gonna distrust people, you're gonna trust people. Things are gonna go back and forth. You might have one ride or die, but even at certain moments you might distrust that person, thinking, do they have my best interest at heart? Anytime things went wrong with Davon and Tiffany, it was like, I don't trust her. She's her sister's sister. Like, we need to get her out. Like, there was no middle ground. She never gave her the benefit of the doubt. Anytime things went wrong with Tiffany, Davon just couldn't take it anymore, and it was such a disservice to her, because I think that she is a replacement level plus player. I really do.
Yeah, and don't forget about Polly, who had the same problem essentially. Like,
Which cried is so
once.
Weird.
She cried once, and I think now we can see, like, we can reassess the situation. Polly saw her crying and was like, "Oh man, typical crying girl. Like, she's just like her sister." Fast
forward to get that butterfly away from me.
Exactly. Right? Polly, Tiffany is sort of like James. Like, she didn't do a whole lot wrong, and she went home because of something that was completely out of her control. And I think that's better than a large portion of the cast. So that's why I had her as high as I did.
And just for the record, Taran, you had Tiffany at 6. You guys all had Tiffany at 6. I had Tiffany down at number 9. So, okay. So Tiffany came in at 6 overall. Number 5, the last of this grouping that we got here. I'm amazed she made it here, but I love her, so I'm okay with it. Bridget is number 5 on the list. Taran, you had her down at 8. The rest of us had her relatively high. Brent and Alex had her at 4. I had her at 5. Brent, what's your thoughts on Bridget as a game player? Could Bridget win the season?
Yeah, I thought it was really weird. Even when she went out, I was like, they're gonna evict. Like, Rob was on the podcast going, I don't understand, like, how there's a girl telling them I'm targeting you, I'm coming after you, and they all chose to evict the other girl. Like, how did that happen? Like, I think it took a really special circumstance to get Bridget out of the house. It was weird. It happened, and it was right after the whole fight with Pauly, and he really got mad at her because up until then she had at least been trying to maintain a semblance of a relationship with some of the people in the house who maybe she didn't trust whatsoever. I think that I liked what I saw from Bridget. I didn't like what I saw necessarily early on, but I felt like as the game, she got more of her feet under her as the game went on. I thought it was a little bit of a disappointing thing that she went out. On the other hand, for feeds and for TV, it was probably a good thing. So there you go.
Anything to add on Bridget, Alex, Taran?
Sure. I have her at 4. In my defense, I will say that she got a slight bump for the Mr. Jenkins presence. For me, at least. This is a girl that's not gonna rub people the wrong way in most given seasons. I mean, she's very inoffensive. She minds her own business for the most part. She doesn't like to offend people. It's just bad luck. She got stuck in there with a girl in Michelle who just wanted.
I don't know though.
Reason to dislike somebody and then kind of hung on to
Alex,
that.
I think
where are you going to say?
I'm sorry. I want to just about that point specifically. I think she's so nice of a girl that it does rub people the wrong way. That's what I worry about with her. It's unbelievably nice. Until people think it's an act. I know people. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to address that because that to me that was her biggest stumbling block, was that she was being honest with these people about the way she acts and the way she thinks, and they all thought it was a fake. They thought she was fooling them.
It's a fair point. And yeah, she also talked about how she has problems, with her in her personal life with, making social connections and stuff. So this is probably something that happens more than just in the Big Brother house.
That's sad.
Yeah. I was initially as high on Bridget as you guys were, until I remembered that during her HOH week, she won HOH. She won the veto. Her second closest ally won the roadkill, and her first closest ally went home, which I thought was absolutely atrocious. And then
Mr. Jenkins, Taran.
What happened that week? I'm sorry, I have Alzheimer's.
Frank won the roadkill, and he nominated Bronte as
the week Bronte went home.
That was the thank you for that week.
I forgot that. Really?
Yeah. That was when we were all the lowest on Bridget, and then she got back into our good graces because she totally flipped the house against Pauly, which I thought was
yelled at him in
moment.
the jury house.
Yes, but again, that's why I had her so high initially, because she was so instrumental in flipping the house. But it was, as Brent talked about, that was what caused people to vote her out in that double eviction, because she was such an obvious component of that, and she wasn't able to shake off the target that gave her, even though she had the information to do so. So that made me put her a bit lower, but she's still top half. So I mean, not terrible, but in regards to this cast, yeah.
Okay, so there's Bridget in at number 4. So that's we're down 2/3 of the cast. The top 4 remains, and I think if you're keeping track of who's left, I think it's kind of clear what the order should be, but maybe not. So let's lay it out for you. Number 4, she had an average rank of 4.75. Really surprised a lot of us. I thought she was going to be one of the worst players in Big Brother history. I thought she was going to be Pow Pow-esque. But no, she did pretty good. Natalie comes in at number 4. So Alex, Brent, you had her at 5. I had her at 4. And Taran, you also had her at 5. So we were pretty much all on the same page on Natalie. Was there anything Natalie really could have done to make you, or for you guys to push her into the top 3, or no? Is that kind of, those guys are kind of in a tier of their own?
It'll be tough. I mean, I think what Natalie really brought that was really impressive to me was her perception. I think there was a lot of times that nobody was telling her anything, and she still was having conversations where I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. She's absolutely right, just from observing. But then, it's hard to look past the times where she made a couple moves that probably weren't in her best interest because she couldn't get past a couple personal issues.
Yes.
And I think that probably, the Pauly situation certainly stirred up some stuff, and probably, you can't put that all on her, but she certainly did let that stuff cloud her strategic judgment in the game. And it's a shame, because people shouldn't have to deal with that kind of stuff in a game, but it still seemed like she struggled to rise above it once it kind of hit her.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing really to add to that. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough situation for Natalie. I think she did a great job. I think there's potential we might see her again. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this whole Jadley situation. So Natalie's in at number 4. Number 3, this is kind of where the ranks were. These 3 were above everyone else. So they're the average rank for the top 3. So third had an average rank of 2.75. Second had an average rank of 1.75. And first had a rank of 1.5. So first and second were very close.
And we all had the same top 3. Interesting.
We all had the same top 3. Number 3, he's very boring, and but that kind of made him a good player. And I think we really got to see that on the edited TV show towards the end. I think you guys kind of saw it all season. It's Corey. Corey, you know, I don't think anybody really is going to go after him in a season. He's always good for the first little while, at least. He doesn't rub anyone the wrong way. He can be an asset in an alliance. And, you know, he wasn't too, like, you know, he came across as really stupid a lot.
He wasn't.
In the edit, but no, he wasn't stupid, Brent.
By the ends, I thought he was the brains of the operation. In fact, of the 4 of us, I'm the only one that had Corey second. Everyone else had Corey in third place. I placed him second. I almost placed him first, believe it or not, because he was the one who was pulling Nicole along. Like, no, this is Big Brother, not Big Baby. We need to do this. She would fight him on it. No, we have to do this. She would fight him on it. Well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do this? Because if I do this, then this happens. No, I don't want to do that. Like, I mean, I don't know how Nicole acts if Corey's not there. Maybe she does these things anyway, and she's like grudgingly does them. But Corey was gung ho. Like, I hated the fact that he was screwing over Paul and Victor, but I love the fact that he took so much joy in doing it and knew that it was the correct move to make. And throughout the season, he seemed to be in the, like, it's amazing to me that a guy this strong, this big, this likable, who was so inoffensive, was able to stay out of the crosshairs, out of all the stuff that's going on in the house. How is he not targeted? I think it's because he was able to lay low. Yes, you can say he stayed in bed with Nicole 20 hours a day. It doesn't make for good feeds. I get that. But if I'm about this is not about TV. This is not about feeds. This is not, because if that was true, I would rank Paul first. It's about gameplay only, and gameplay says that Corey played a pretty damn good game. Sits
on the block like a champ. Yeah, and I think, you know, I'm reminded of the school that Buster in Arrested Development goes to, the Milford School, where people are supposed to be neither seen nor heard, and so they just begin to like blend in with the background. That is definitely Corey. Corey was the kid that was told not be seen or heard, and now it's paying dividends in the Big Brother house.
Yeah. I mean, the Shane Meany approach, Taran.
I had Corey ranked third, and for the record, Corey is the first player on my list that I would rank as like should be replacement level. So like this is what a normal player of Big Brother should be, like inoffensive, no blatant mistakes, just like does things. He is competitive. He wants to win the game, and he does things somewhat correctly throughout the entire game. So like this is like first person that's in the positives in the entire list, in my opinion. And he's there because of that, basically, only. I think in a more competitive season, he's probably much lower. And ideally, in my kind of season of Big Brother, he is at the very least in the middle of the pack at best.
In my ideal season of Big Brother, Taran, he's not even in the cast. So you don't like why I don't Corey, you know, fine. You know, think what you want about him. Seemed like he's a, you know, whatever type of guy, but I don't know. He didn't really bring anything to the table. I thought, at least, like, oh yeah, he likes Christmas, and yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm saying. Like every choice he made was like decently correct, but it was also decently obvious. So like it's just like, yes, you should be doing this, and you did. Congratulations, you're better than like 90% of the cast.
Yep, just like vanilla ice cream beats bad other ice cream.
Yes, we'll go with that. We will go with that, Alex.
Good
it's
one,
actually kind of true.
That's our hashtag, bad other ice cream.
Bad other ice cream. Vanilla ice cream is good though, so I do see it.
Well,
it's
I don't like
the best
until my choices are like vanilla, like rum raisin, and
oh god,
another thing of rum raisin. Yeah, right.
No.
Lime daiquiri.
That's a flavor? Lime daiquiri. Wow.
Yeah.
You guys have interesting flavors in America. Okay, so Corey's in at third. Now comes to the moment of truth. Who is number 1 and who is number 2? And you can't say we're results oriented because we're doing this before the finale. I thought it was going to be, I thought it was a tie at first, but it wasn't, because Brent put one person at third because he had Corey at second. So
right, and I've already revealed who that person is, so you can tell what's going to happen here.
So Nicole is number one on the list. Paul is number two. So there you go. Very close. Alex and I had Paul at number one. Brent and Taran, my goodness, they're on the same page. They had Nicole at number one. So I can see arguments for both sides. Taran, why did you have Nicole number one?
Okay, so this is a difficult thing, but only because this is Nicole's second game. That's where the comparison starts for me. If we're looking at this game, I think it's clear that Nicole played a better game than Paul. I mean, from the very beginning, she was in with multiple alliances. She always had some sort of out. And when everything finally crumbled in on her, she outplayed Paul and Victor to flip the script and create another power structure in which she made it to the end again. And it's only because she got unlucky with the comp outcomes that she's even in a position where she might lose here. So, I mean, I think she's played really well. The question then does become, is she good because this is her second time? And there's a very legitimate argument here, I think. I think that Paul, with more knowledge of the game, coming back a second time, could probably match what Nicole did. But it's very difficult to tell, and that's why it's hard to compare first-time players to two-time players. That's why it's hard to rank Derek with Dan and Will. So, I mean, if you guys have arguments against why Nicole played the best game this season, I'm certainly willing to fight on that. If otherwise, we can debate the first and second time thing. But I feel like
I ranked Nicole first as well, and I don't think it's close between first and second. I really don't think, because between Nicole and Paul, because I keep going back to the fact that you guys are reminding me about many times this summer that Paul would have continually been evicted if not for the fact that Victor kept coming back into the game. Like, Paul would have been the one who was in that chair ready to be evicted if not for the fact that Victor kept coming back in, giving people another target. And Victor's always going to be a bigger target over Paul. And he was always aligned directly with Paul. So, and he never really considered anything else except for the short time that he did a Final Four with Corey and Nicole. And then, of course, the bigger alliance with James, Michelle, and Natalie before they screwed them over. But again, I go back to the fact that Nicole basically was in control of the game for large portions of the season. She made the moves she needed to. She was never nominated till the Final Four when basically she had to be nominated. And there was some other point I wanted to make. Oh, the move to get out of harm's way when she went up to Natalie. And then even got somehow she got Michelle to go along with Natalie's plan. Or I don't know, maybe you can say Natalie did that, but Michelle was co-HOH there, and that still didn't screw up Nicole's hard work when she got Natalie to target Paul by saying that Paul was coming after James, which of course sent Natalie off. And Nicole also said something about the fake tits comment that Paul had also joked about that. And so she knew how to push Natalie's buttons, and she did it well. So this isn't close to me. I think Nicole clearly played a better game than Paul. But, if you're talking about the final two, when I say Paul should win over Nicole, I take things into consideration like, who do I like better? Who was like better on my TV screen? Who do I enjoy watching their winning game? And if that's the criteria, then it's the other way around, and it's not even close that way, because this was not a very fun game to watch, but it was effective.
Alex, some interesting points by Brent there. Brent, I do like the argument about the Victor thing. What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah, no, certainly I think, Paul, once we do like winners rankings, if Paul wins this season, it won't be possible for me to put Paul in like the top third simply because of the Victor presence. The fact that Victor, provided 3 times the shield for Paul pretty much. You know what I mean? Right. That's great. I mean, that really goes a long way in a game like Big Brother. The reason I put Paul ahead of Nicole, like Taran said, I went back and forth a lot, and ultimately I did put Paul first, but I don't think you can really make the case that Paul has played a better game than Nicole this season. I think Nicole has played the better game. Ultimately, I just, I kind of assessed what they've done this season, the arc that they've had, the growth that I've seen from when they first started in a Big Brother house to where they are right now. And I feel like I like Paul's odds at a second shot better than I like Nicole's odds at a third shot. And that's simply what I went with.
Yeah, for me, it was the fact that going back to what Taran said, this is what Paul has done in his first try. I think if he were to go back now on any random season, I think he would improve considerably. And also, too, he's just got natural instincts for the game, like the whole faking the fight with Victor. I think that was a brilliant move. All the adversity he faced this season that he overcame.
And when Victor was the target during week 2, and he was able, that was his best buddy, and he was able to keep a secret. He tried to drop little hints to Victor, but when Victor wasn't picking up on him, he didn't take him aside and say, dude, look, you're the target. I'm sure he wanted to do that, but he kept his mouth shut because he knew it was his ass on the line there. That's really hard to do in the Big Brother house.
Definitely. And especially when, he's 23, he's a kid. I mean, and he pulled up all this stuff. So, I think that Paul has got a lot of potential for the game, and I think he can improve even more so on a returning chance. So that's why I had him ahead of Nicole, but I do, I won't argue against it. Nicole, for this season, yes, I think Nicole has played the better game. Okay, well, that's going to do it for our ranks there. Guys, we talked about a lot of stuff considering there isn't too much to talk about. I was a little concerned that we would have a short show like Taran was joking about at the beginning, but somehow, some way, guys.
We don't know the meaning of the word short show.
Right.
We figure it out every single time. So let's start to wind things down. I'm sorry we didn't get to the questions tonight, but it's just
it's too late.
This other stuff. It's too late. Had all this other stuff going on. We will be taking your questions. However, at the finale, after the finale, after it airs, Rob Cesternino is going to be in the backyard conducting interviews with all of the house guests on Big Brother 18.
Yay!
So
we've made it. We've made it.
We have arrived. We have arrived. We are all going to be on RHAP right after the finale, filling in for Rob. So the LFC and I will be live. I guess it's going to be, I'm just thinking in my head, so 6:30. It ends at 8. So yeah, probably about 8:15 Pacific, 11:15 Eastern is when we will be going live on Wednesday night. So that should be a really fun show. We'll be taking questions the whole way through. Just use hashtag RHAP if you have any of those during the episode. Another quick announcement, guys. Big Brother Over the Top. It's premiering not this upcoming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. And we will be back for Big Brother OTT. So if you are going to tune in and check it out, or if you just want to hear about the nonsense and listen to us chat, we will be still podcasting, and we're going to be upping our regular schedule. We will be podcasting twice a week during the BB OTT season. So I don't even know, Taran, Alex, Brent, have I even told you the schedule for this yet?
Nope.
We briefly discussed a rough outline.
Am I getting a raise? That's what I need to know.
I'm not the right person to talk to about that, Brent. I have to call Rob.
You have to contact payroll about that, Brent.
Yeah. HR. Reach out to HR. Rob has a human resources. So our schedule, and I just met with Rob and Scott St. Pierre yesterday. So we are going to be doing a podcast every Sunday night. Haven't 100% locked down the time yet. That is going to be the exact same pretty much as what we did Monday nights during this season. So every Sunday, the LFC and I, we're going to get together. We're going to chat about what's going on the live feeds and all that stuff. So it'll be a spoiler show. That should be a lot of fun. And then on Wednesdays, after the eviction on Big Brother Over the Top each week, there's a live eviction each week. We don't really know too much about the schedule, but we do know that's when the evictions are. Rob's going to be doing Survivor Know-It-Alls that night, so I will be hosting the recap on Wednesday nights. I will have one of these guys with me each week. I think we'll just kind of rotate as the season goes along, and then hopefully we can get an additional guest with us each night. But I don't know how many people are watching OTT, so maybe it'll just be me and two of the live feed correspondents. We'll see how it goes.
Jordan. You never know.
You never know. We'll see. So it should be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys stick with us for the OTT season because I've had a lot of fun. I just want to thank all of you guys so much for listening to this podcast this summer. I mean, it has been so much fun doing this show. I've had some stressful times this summer. I've had some times where, I've had some personal stuff going on, but each and every week when I come to do this podcast and we get all the, love and appreciation from you guys listening, it really means a lot to me. And I know it does to the LFC as well. Taran, Alex, Brent, you guys are seriously the best. I don't like to suck kneecaps on the podcast when I can avoid it. But it has been a joy working with you this summer. And I think that, it's been so much fun watching this podcast grow and watching us grow as a team. I think it's been a lot of fun, and I'm so happy to have you guys all as friends, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. So thank you so much, Brent, for all the rants and all of the yelling at Taran.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. While you're and all the times you checked your phone while you were while we were doing the podcast and multitasking and still listening to what I had to say. I appreciate that. And having something to say when Alex forgot what he was saying or I forgot what I was saying.
I'm good at that.
Really meant a lot.
Taran, well, you're thinking, yeah.
Oh, it's great. Alex, again, old reliable. You disagree, but you're always here, my man. You're doing a great job. You know what's up. And you seriously, Alex, this season for real, I noticed how good you are at impressions. Your impression game has really
true. Yes.
blown me away. Just like the random like comparisons you make to things, the analogies are amazing. I love the analogies.
Yes.
And I had one other thing, but I forgot what it was. So
friendship,
Alex. And Taran, I would go on a very long soliloquy praising you, but you get that pretty much every day. So I don't really, so I don't really need to do that. I just want to say, keep up the good work. Good job, Taran. You do a great job. So, and also traveling on the road and coming to this podcast, doing it from hotel rooms. Because you did it a few times this season.
Broadcasting out of a suitcase.
I've also had like a sinus infection for like the last 3 weeks. So
so there you go. There you go. Having a sinus infection, doing it sick. And all like there's a few weeks where like Taran was on every single night. Like he was on, or I don't know how it happened, but he was on with Rob on Sunday, and then he was on RHAPpy Hour, and then he was on Wednesday, and somehow Thursday, and then Friday.
Get this guy a 6-day off season quick, right?
Yeah, he definitely needs it. So seriously, guys, thank you so much. And if you like the LFC as much as I do, if you love them, send them some love, please, on Twitter. Let them know you appreciate their hard work, because watching the live feeds is not easy. And that's why they do it. And that's why, it's why we love them, because they bring the energy, they bring the passion. You guys love the game. And we really could not do this podcast without you. So thank you very much. Big thank you as well to Scott St. Pierre, Rob Sesternino. Could not make this podcast happen without those guys behind the scenes, making sure that the ship is sailing smoothly. So big thank you to Scott and to Rob as well. Okay, guys. Well, that's going to do it. That is the last Big Brother 18 edition of the RHAPpy Hour. I cannot believe that we're done. Wednesday is the last episode, guys. Give yourself a pat on the back. Like, you can sleep for a few days. It's going to be great. What are you going to do with all this spare time, Alex?
Unshackle myself from my computer chair and find out what clouds look like again.
I've
heard good things.
I'm gonna frame my my Emmy win. I don't know if you guys heard, but
you won an Emmy.
I won the Emmy for Best Actor.
I have to put that
Mr. Robot.
I have to put that. Oh, that's the joke. I didn't get that. That's very cute. I like that one. Good job, Taran. I have a picture I will post on Twitter of me holding 2 actual Emmys. I was friends with a guy who won 2 Emmys for his broadcasting, and he had them up in his house. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to take pictures of these. So like, it's the best picture ever. It looks like I won 2 Emmys, so I can say I touched one.
There you go.
I know, like crazy things in my life. Crazy, right?
Right. Okay. Guys in the chat, if I could get you to start brainstorming hashtags. I know we dropped one earlier in the show.
It was bad other ice cream.
There you go. Okay, done. Thanks, Brent. Never mind.
Hashtag bad other ice cream.
One of Alex's great comparisons.
Nice.
Yes, that was probably one of that in hashtag listening group. You can tell that Alex has it's deteriorating. Kidwell is deteriorating as the season goes on.
Old reliable.
Yeah, I need
to
not so reliable anymore.
Yeah. No, I need to retreat to my lair and I don't know, hibernate for recharge.
Yeah,
I don't know if
you have a week to recuperate.
Have you guys seen the? If you guys haven't checked out the new video for Rob has redesigned the Rob is a website site, and he put up this video on YouTube. If you go to his channel on YouTube, it's 4.5, 5 minutes of behind the scenes of Rob as a podcast, and Alex is in there at some point, and it shows what Rob is in when he's in the studio, and it was so well produced, and it made me so happy to be a part of something so cool and so awesome when I watched that. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, I really lucked out that he happened to shoot that on a Wednesday.
Right.
Okay, Taran, anything happening with American Ninja Warrior this week?
Not this week, but I am still looking for interviews. I managed to get Joe Moravsky, the weatherman, which I'm incredibly proud of. And I thought it was a really, really awesome interview. If you like American Ninja Warrior at all, I beg you to check that out. It's awesome. Joe is awesome. We just wrapped up coverage. The season finale was an interesting season finale. There were some great moments. There were some not great moments.
It sucked. I have a question about Joe. Seriously, give us a teaser for the interview. Was he as down on stage 2 as the rest of us were?
No, actually, he talked about how he got to try some of the obstacles afterward, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, I liked it." He thought that he thinks that next season people are going to come back, they're going to do better.
Okay.
He thinks it's just
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm saying it sucked because I was pissed. And by the way, I have RuPaul's Drag Race. If you want to check out RuPaul's Drag Race, me, Mike, and a veritable host of guest people are hosting it currently because Allie's been gone, although Allie's coming back next week. We had one drop. It actually dropped last night. Usually they drop on Monday, but ours, Scott was so quick with it, with the turnover, that it dropped last night. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on my Twitter. It's on Mike Bloom. If you go to Mike Bloom, it's at a Mike Bloom type. You can find his the link on there as well, as on Rob has a website.
All right. Alex, Fear the Walking Dead. What's going on?
Yeah, we're still podcasting about Fear the Walking Dead. There's a lot of stuff that people should be checking out over at Post Show Recaps if they're into podcasts about scripted TV. Mike Bloom and Jeremiah Panhorst and Taran's co-host for the American Ninja Warrior podcast, Lita, just did a really good Emmy recap. And we've got, like Seinfeld recaps up over there. They're going back. Josh and AJ Mass have been covering Lost. Mr. Robot recaps are really good. So yeah, there's a lot to check out over there if people are also into scripted TV as well as reality TV.
Does anyone do a South Park post-show recap, Alex?
We did a most show recaps for South Park.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like there's probably a South Park recap out there or something, but no, there's I'm sure there's a market for it, Jordan.
Yeah,
is that your idea?
I was gonna say that would be a fun show. I love South Park, so I was just thinking that should be a show. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for the show. One final thing. There was a review contest that we talked about all season. So 3 people are going to get a Skype call with me if you still want it. So thank you to everybody who left a review. I really appreciate it. It really helped the podcast out, helped to grow this season. We'll probably do a similar thing for next season. So the winners of the Skype call contest for the reviews are Fetch Bonnie, Ashley Olfoff, I think is how you say it. It's OLTHOFF. So I don't know how to say that. So sorry, Ashley. And not Kyle Reed. So those are the 3 winners. If you want to cash in on your Skype call with me, your 30-minute Skype call with me, just send me an email, parharjordan@gmail.com. And I will do that with you to thank you for leaving the review. So yes. So thank you very much. All right, that's gonna do it. I can't believe this is it, guys.
We're gonna see you Wednesday night, bitch.
I know, but it's just like the end of the RHAPpy Hour season. It was our best season yet. So it's so sad that it's ending.
And I do want to say, like, from the moment I joined RHAP and we started doing recaps, I've wanted a show like this where I feel like we have more freedom to get in depth into the strategy. And I know that's not all this show is, but it's I mean, Brent adds a lot, and obviously Alex adds a lot, and there are different aspects of it. And I think
you're the only one who brings strategy.
That's what he said. That's what I heard to me. God damn it.
But what I'm saying is, like, I really appreciate having the show, and I'm really happy that people enjoy listening to it because it's something that I have wanted for a long time, and I'm really, really glad that we were able to do it. And it's just been
stop digging, girl. Stop digging.
Well said.
I agree, Taran. It's a fun place to hang out. I love it. I enjoy it. I love you guys.
Oh, that was great. Oh God, that was so good.
Although, yeah, it's very funny. Of course, Taran gets that in, like, at the very end. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here for the strategy, and everyone else is here for."
And Brent brings something, and Alex brings something. Yeah, okay.
Hey, at least he said, Brent and Alex. At least he said you brought something. He didn't say anything about me, so I would rather bring something.
I'm crying, you guys. I swear.
Yeah, well, what do we bring? Your equipment?
No, listen, what Brent brings is somebody to disagree with me so I can get more in depth about the real actual strategy of what's going on in the house.
All right. Thank you.
And then what does Alex bring?
Listen, I don't like questions. Can we just...
Okay, Zakiya. Yeah, the questions bother her.
Brent, is this the man you lay with?
Oh, good times. Good times.
Oh, man. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
And on that note,
yes, on that note, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for tuning into the RHAPpy Hour tonight and all season. We hope to see you Wednesday night for the Big Brother 18 finale on Rob is a Podcast, and we hope to see you during Big Brother Over the Top. For Alex Kidwell, actually, you know what? Hold on. Time out. I'm going to just give your Twitters a shout out quickly. Alex Kidwell, follow these guys on Twitter. Alex Kidwell is at Alex Kidwell. Brent is at One Lucky Gay. Taran is at Armstrong Taran. And I'm at Jordan Parhar. Okay. For Alex, Brent, and Taran, I'm Jordan Parhar. Hashtag bad other ice cream. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.
love you.